Hey everyone, just a bit of a warning. Throughout the recording of this video, we are going to be talking about some pretty heavy topics regarding sexual assault.
Yeah, just general sex abuse and violence are going to be topics that come up in this review because of the nature of the film. So if any of those things are things that you're particularly sensitive to or don't feel like you can, hear discussion about them for your own reasons, this is probably not the video to watch. Just, sort of viewer discretion is advised.
And if you are the victim of any of these crimes, please seek out help. Go to a trusted source. But yeah, just fair warning. We're going to move into the review now. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Alien Collection, the series where we talk about all the Alien movies leading up to the TV show Alien Earth. And with me today we have...
It's me, Emily.
Yes.
I'm here.
She's been along the whole ride, except for Romulus.
Except for Romulus.
Thank you, Nick, for being a part of that video, actually. And today we're going to be talking about Alien Covenant, the other Alien prequel that Ridley Scott has directed.
The last Alien movie we haven't talked about on this channel.
The last one before we talked about... Oh, wait, and then we get into a TV show. Yeah. And the two other crossovers that we will eventually have to cover at some point.
We?
Shit. Don't leave me.
I'm just fucking with you.
I know. Yeah, so Alien Covenant. I'm going to be real with you guys. This is the most generic, middle-of-the-road Alien movie in the whole franchise. You can literally see what parts of each Alien movie that they are ripping off verbatim, scene per scene. The first act of this movie, like the first third, is Prometheus. The second act, I'll get into, is the much more interesting act of the movie. And then the third act is just the ending of Alien done again. Like, how do you think they defeat the Xenomorph in this one? Take a fucking...
They vented into space?
Yep.
Whoa! How the fuck did they think of that, dude? They're genius.
The only difference here is that it gets like impaled on something and then gets thrown out into space. But yeah, that's it. It's just a painfully average movie that has some moments of like, oh, that's really cool, or like, oh, that's a interesting piece of lore drop. Like, honestly, this is a lore movie.
Yeah.
Like, that is it. Like, it's just a movie made to just say one bit of thing to explain something in the franchise. And
he's reflective of Ridley Scott's later thought process with this franchise that confuses me greatly. That he seemed to think what was missing from Alien was detailed explanation on the backstory of the Xenomorphs. And I'm not sure who he thought was asking for that.
I don't know. Honestly, this movie definitely feels like a response to Prometheus, and that, like, okay, people didn't like that there was no xenomorph in it, or that it was too much not like Alien, even though that's really not the biggest problem with the movie. So they're like, okay, fuck it. On the poster, there's your fucking xenomorph. Like, here's the xenomorph, here's the xenomorph. We're going to explain the xenomorph. Here you go. And, like, yeah, so you just get a lot of, like, that kind of shit in this movie where it's just like, okay, yeah, and suddenly the xenomorph is here. And that's cool because it's, like, modern special effects done with, like, Ridley Scott's beautiful style. But they really don't do anything cool shot-wise with it. It just feels like a half-baked movie that has, again, really cool moments in it of, like, oh, that's interesting, or that's interesting. But, like, yeah, like, the characters are some of the most forgettable characters in this entire franchise. Catherine Waterston just plays Ripley 3.0. Billy Crudup is the most idiotic captain imaginable. There's a woman who looks like third form Frieza.
Jesus.
There's a vaguely gay tough guy with a gun in this movie. And I say vaguely because they're like, in an R-rated movie, they're like, well, we can't show them kissing. Cowards. And, Jussie Smollett's in this movie.
Oh, man.
Yeah, right? The whole premise of this movie is that it's this colonizing ship that is heading towards a planet, and along the way, something horrible happens, and James Franco gets burned alive in his pod. So I shouldn't say something horrible happens, but to them, something horrible happens.
Yeah.
Which, again, maybe we should add another coveted fuck you to this movie.
Yeah, fuck you, James Franco.
It's also, like, really weird because you're just like, is that James Franco? And then he just dies. He never gets a real line in this movie. And then it's just like, okay, I guess that was James Franco. And so because of that experience, they're very like, I don't know, like everybody's worried to get back into like the cryopods. So they eventually hear like a distress beacon that is playing John Denver. And they're like, well, we gotta go explore that. And they find out that the planet is like perfectly habitable for human life. So they're like, fuck, like it's just a couple weeks drive there. Let's just do that. Instead of like a 7-year trip where we might be burned alive again. So
Right.
And so they go on this planet and bad shit happens, of course, because it's an alien movie.
Right.
But unlike all the other alien movies, this has Prometheus's, in my opinion, stupid characters. Like, now, remember, in all the other alien movies, what is the first thing that everybody does before they go out onto the surface of these planets?
Put on a mask.
Correct, Emily. Guess what these fucking idiots do?
Yeah, it was always interesting. Although I guess I can kind of get it in a prequel sense. If they didn't do it in Prometheus, right?
Yeah.
That they wanted to go for like the pathogen angle. Oh, there's a weird alien disease that's causing fucked up shit to happen.
Yeah. I mean, but they don't even do that angle of it. It's just like, no,
I know.
they're very confident about the atmosphere. And you know what the funniest thing is? Like 5 minutes later, some guy like steps on something and it goes up his nose and infects him with a fucking alien. I'm sorry. I love the chest bursters and the face huggers and the xenomorphs, but the fucking neomorph is the most dangerous fucking creature in this franchise. Because unlike the face hugger, which you can knock away if you're quick enough, or you can like dodge it, and maybe you could possibly surgically remove a chest burster if you're quick enough and you know it's coming. But like in this, it's a literal microscopic disease that they can barely see going up someone's nose or going up in someone's ear, and a fucking alien-sized creature pops out of their back or out their mouth. So it's like, okay, I guess we're now just introducing a creature that is far more deadly than the fucking xenomorph in this franchise.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, and they never do anything with it again. Like the creature comes out, it attacks them for a bit, Billy Crudup shoots one, and David cries. Oh, by the way, David's in this movie.
Yeah.
And I will say, I like the idea of like, okay, this is the pale white version of the xenomorph. Like, if you want to do something new, make it... Wait. I'm not going to say that.
Yeah, let's not.
Caught myself there.
But yeah, what I will say about the neomorphs.
Yeah.
I do think that they're very interesting. I will also say that I'm kind of fine with them being a more deadly monster on the basis that they're much harder to spread around. So I can kind of buy, because like the one thing about fungal diseases is that they're really hard to spread. They spread through like contact or by being airborne.
Mm-hmm.
But fungal diseases do not spread as easily as something like a virus. Mm-hmm. And they have presented the neomorph fungal disease that kills its host.
I'll give you that.
So, like,
okay,
I do kind of get the, like, oh, these things never really made it out into space. Because it's like, oh, yeah, it's the fungus that you have to grow and cultivate. And then the spores put a monster baby into you that kills you. As opposed to an actual living life form that basically parasitizes other life forms to reproduce, which makes at least a little bit more sense.
I never thought of it like that. Yeah, because I never thought, these things would never really make it that far because they are only native to this planet. Okay, I'll give you that. We'll get into why the xenomorphs in this movie. But there's just a lot of stuff like that. And there's a scene with the backburster, which is apparently what the neomorph thing is called.
It's actually called a bloodburster. Because it changes its point of egress depending on how the host was infected.
Okay. All right, cool. My bad.
I just learned that by reading the wiki about
Someone's prepared. But there's a scene with it rupturing out someone's back, and it is like, it's supposed to be this really violent, terrifying scene, but honestly, it's really funny because there's so much slapsticky shit that happens. Like, they kick the thing, it like hits the wall in a weird way. One of the characters grabs a shotgun, it slips on the blood, shoots up in the air, and it's just like, fuck this, I'm leaving. Gets her foot caught on the door. Then she has to hobble away, and then she's trying to shoot this thing, and she shoots a fucking explosive thing and just blows up their ship. So there's just like, okay, that was silly. And I know, like, we talked about in the last review about characters doing stupid shit, but, like, again, for me, it's just like, I'll give this one a pass because it wasn't a panic, but still, I thought it was just a little too silly for me, especially in this movie that's trying to be more serious.
Yeah, no, I get that.
But enough, like, me, like, bagging on this movie, because I do want to get into things I really like about this movie, and obviously it is the David stuff. Like,
Sure.
I love the idea of like a nomadic David. Like, what if the I Am Legend kind of character with the sadistic robot is interesting, and like what would he do if he was alone, and like him, and again, he is the reason why they're here. He sent out the distress beacon, and now he's like, fresh things to play with. And what I really like is you have a character in this movie named Walter, who is basically Michael Fassbender with an American accent, who's like a more upgraded model, but like not as creative or intelligent, so he can't like he's technically more impressive than David, but he's not there. Like, he doesn't have David's like curiosity and need for creation. He's just like, I'm just here to do my job, and that's it. And like, he cares about Catherine Waterston's character, but still, it's not like there's nothing there to it. It's just more just like he sees that she is in distress because she lost her husband, and he's there for her. And there's not really anything there, but like, it's at least some comfort that she needed in that moment. But with like David's character, yeah, it's like, I love getting to see like David try to tell a robot how to create and how to have a soul. It's really like, again, like what you said in the last episode about like the David being an answer to Ridley Scott wanting to do more with the Ash character. This is it. Like, you really get to see like what David would be like with different androids, and it's just really cool. Like, and honestly, it's really funny because it's the most ego stroking thing ever, because there's a moment where David kisses Walter, and it's just Michael Fassbender kissing Michael Fassbender.
Beautiful, magnificent.
I was just
the
like,
Yowie that I wanted to see.
I know, right? And there's a really funny moment, and it's not meant to be taken this way, but it is like the most that's what she said joke. There's a moment where, like, you know how the engineers play with flutes to like operate their technology? So David has to teach Walter how to play the flute, and he's just like,
hold it like so, nice and easy. Now compress your lips to create your embouchure, enough for the tip of your little finger, and blow into the hole gently, like so. Watch me. I'll do the fingering.
Should have let those robots fuck.
It almost got to that point, because he's like, you are more than what they made you and shit like that. I'm like, okay, just fuck already.
Yeah. Ridley Scott, if you weren't a coward, you would release the extended cut. I know you shot those scenes. I can see into your soul. Let us have them.
I would say in any other franchise, like, oh yeah, you're taking it too far. Like that, they wouldn't do that here. In this franchise, no, they would. It's weird and perverted enough. And if before you say they're robots, they don't have a sexual drive, I beg to differ, because in this movie, they get uncomfortably close to David assaulting the main character. But it's like, and it's kind of weird because it's like, wait, how? Well, like, wait, not how, and like, how would he do it? It's more like, how is this supposed to work? Because it's a robot who doesn't have a drive. But it kind of just implies like David has been alive and been able to like create his own like consciousness and his own form of evil, I guess. And it wouldn't be out of like a sexual urge. It would be more out of like a disgusting, like, I'm not going to get into it. And honestly,
no, I mean, I think you're right. And I think it's important to talk about a franchise that is so steeped in the language of sexual assault. I think a lot of what's going on there is significantly more tied to power than it is to horniness.
Thank you.
Because fundamentally, right, and I do think that this is something that Alien has gotten really right, is that forcing sex upon someone is not like a pleasure thing. It's an act of dominance.
Yeah.
And what I've always really liked about the way that Alien handles this subject matter is that it never tries to imply that anything that the aliens or any other character who enacts that kind of behavior does so out of a legitimate attraction to any of the people that they're doing it to.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's not like oh, I am so attracted to you and cannot help myself. It kind of breaks down that myth by making it a very intrinsically violent act, especially through the way that they contextualize like the face huggers, right? And I think that even in the times where we take the subtext of what Alien is talking about and making it more literal, especially when Scott is at the helm, it feels like they adhere to that portrayal in a way that makes sense and connects all that thematic tissue very well.
And again, it's like a really small moment, and Walter does come in to save her, and you get a cool robot fight. Honestly, go into that whole power element too. Like, the big thing that you learn in this movie, and is again what makes it a lore movie in my opinion, you find out that David created the Xenomorph.
Kind of, yeah.
Now, I will say, I don't want to give myself too much credit, but I won't give myself any credit. There's a YouTuber named Mr. Sunday Movies who made a pretty good theory about maybe he didn't create them, but he rediscovered them.
Sure.
But honestly, I don't know how much I can take that, because the whole point of Xenomorph is okay, it is it's part human in a way, because if you get a face hugger thing and as engineer, you get the deacon, and in this it's clearly something else. It's clearly something more akin to the original Alien design. Yeah, and another really cool detail that I do like about the film is that you see David's artwork and it's just H.R. Giger drawings. And there's a moment where you see Elizabeth, because after the events of Prometheus, they did find a world, or at least the world of the engineers. And instead of talking with them, David's just like, you know what? Fuck them. And he just drops the goo on them, and they all die. And it's this big, horrific field of bodies all twisted and mangled and blackened. And it's a cool visual, but really they don't do anything with it other than just a cool visual.
Right.
And it helps to explain why the vegetation in the area has incorporated this black goo and thus the neomorph. But in between then, Elizabeth has died, or he killed her, and has been using her body to create the Xenomorph. And there's a moment where you see her flayed open body, and that's what happened to this poor woman, which kind of sucks, because I really like that character, and just to kill her off screen in just an uneventful way. I mean, sure, she's tied now to the Xenomorph mythology in that she is, I guess, the first queen. Not really, but still, if you want to think of it like that.
No, I agree. It's very macabre, is the way that I would put it.
Which is very much in line with Alien, I guess you can say, because it's never been a happy franchise.
Yes, it feels very stark in a way that can be a little bit difficult to grasp. But something I will say is that I do kind of think the idea of the Xenomorph and its origin being this dude was fucking around with the shit that he didn't understand, right? David kind of plays this character of being oh, I'm very curious and intellectual. But even in this movie, all of the characters, when they hear about David's theories, are dude, you're stupid, right? You're not correct.
And even Walter's dude, what are you no, that's not how this shit works. Okay, yeah, sure, you're creative, but no, and I guess it's really fun the idea of a robot who's gone mad, become a mad scientist. That's really fun. I guess the thing about tying it into the idea of this is how the Xenomorphs are made kind of demystifies it a bit, in that okay, we now have a hard point in time when these creatures were made.
Right.
And I mean, we'll get into it when we talk about other future things, but that does limit the amount of stories you can tell now with the Xenomorph.
It's interesting because, sorry, I'm trying to formulate this thought in my brain.
This is a very lore heavy movie. Just drops this thing on you, so you gotta okay.
The way that I would phrase it, or the way that I want to construe what I'm thinking of, is that I think that this circles back to the Ridley Scott had a really interesting concept for a sci-fi franchise and then tied it to Alien in a way that I don't think he needed to.
I agree.
Because if you take the Alien out of both of these
Mm-hmm.
and make it like this is a sci-fi movie initially that's about a bunch of humans going to a planet that they believe to be the genesis of their species, only to find out that they shouldn't fuck around with the genesis of their species, into a movie about a character from that movie who went crazy after its event and is now trying to synthesize the perfect life form and makes weird fucked up mutant monsters.
Yeah.
And that is really cool. I don't think it needed the Xenomorph connection. I think that those plots independently would have worked.
I 100% agree with you. Like, yeah, that entire premise is really cool. Yeah, just tying it to Alien is just like, okay, I guess, because now we have something that, like, we connect to about, like, oh, shit, now it makes it really important to, like, film as a whole. But, like, honestly, just having the balls to just be like, no, we're just going to make our own thing, and this is the story we want to tell. And it would be really fun.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, okay, yeah, we're talking about all this big lore-heavy things. The issue with this movie is it introduced no interesting new characters. David's just a return. And it just gives us this one bit of information, and then it's like, okay, see you next time. Even though I will say, the ending of this movie is really good. Like, the last 5 minutes of this movie, perfect. Like, it's a great horror movie twist. It's obvious as hell, but it's still a good twist. But, like, yeah, you see he's tucking her in to go to the cryopod, and she's like, oh, I can't wait to go build our cabin. And you just see David just go like, cabin? And she's like, oh, fuck, it's David. And then she goes to he forces her to sleep, which is, again, going more into that angle of, ugh.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, now David has control of all these human bodies because there's just these people on ice. And he, like, regurgitates these facehugger embryos and puts them away. And now it's just like, oh, shit. David has control and can make a fuck ton of these things.
Mm-hmm.
Which I genuinely love the idea of that. Like, it's a fucked up idea. And it's like, because at the end of the movie, he's just off in space now. He's just doing his own thing. He could go to what is it? LV 426? What's the first planet?
I'm not sure. I don't remember the name of it, actually. I'm realizing.
First planet's name, LV something. And yeah, he could set up shop there, and that's going to explain how everything else happens in the franchise going forward. And honestly, like, yeah, like, I know now, we talked about, like, what we'd want to see in sequels with Ripley, but honestly, I feel like you can combine the story at the end of Covenant and the characters from Romulus meeting up. I
agree.
I would love that, because I love the characters in Romulus, or at least the characters that are left in Romulus. I think those two are so interesting, especially Andy and David Johnson's performance as that character. Having scenes with David would be fantastic, because it's this robot who's discovered the love for humanity, even after corporate, like, malware and was almost infecting him. He still, he was able to fight back against it, against this guy who has no humanity left and is just an evil son of a bitch.
Right.
Like, I love that idea, and apparently they are going to be doing a Alien Romulus sequel. And apparently Ridley Scott wanted to make more Alien prequels after this, or at least explain the story going forward. Just combine the two. Honestly, I'd be okay with that, because this franchise is now past the whole Ripley's the main character thing.
Mm-hmm.
I like Kaylee Spaney's character from Romulus. I like David Johnson's Andy. And I like David, played by Michael Fassbender. And I think he's starting, like, I don't know. I feel like the allegations against him haven't been proven, or at least in court, or I don't know what happened.
What, Fassbender?
Yeah.
Oh, no, that shit. He definitely did that shit.
God damn it. I've seen him in things recently. So I'm like, I think, yeah. But I would like to see Michael Fassbender return at the franchise, at least for one more performance as David. And I guess what I can say about this franchise is that they just kind of casually said that, oh yeah, this is connected to Predator now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because in the trailer for Badlands, Elle Fanning's character is clearly a Weyland-Yutani robot, which I guess is just like, fuck it, we're just going to connect these two franchises together. And Honestly, I'm okay with that because apparently with Alien Earth, they're introducing new alien species into that show, and I like that idea. I like the idea like the alien or the xenomorph is the perfect organism, so it has to show how perfect it is against these other creatures.
Yeah.
I like the idea that the predator race, the Yautjas and the engineers are possibly rivals. I think that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, just like this franchise has gone in a direction where I'm like, cool, okay. Like, I'm excited to see an Alien versus Predator movie done right, but we'll have to see how Alien Earth does, and we'll have to see how Predator Badlands does. Which, by the way, speaking of the Predator, we are going to be covering all of the Predator movies in our...
You're keeping the name, Max?
I think we're going to keep the name. In our...
Say it with your chest, then.
Our controversial title, to say the least. The Predator Registry.
Why did you name it that?
We were there all together when we named this.
I said it as a joke.
I think it's funny because when people actually watch it, it's like, oh, that Predator.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to be covering the Predator movies sometime in November. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Please like, subscribe, and share. Please subscribe to our Patreon. For $5 a month, you get to help us get better content and such. Hopefully, I will make a video in the future talking about what is going to be going on the Patreon, so that people can actually have some good stuff. Just for right now, what I'll say, whatever you can do to support us is very much appreciated. Yeah, I'm Max Keller Halls, and with me today we had
Emily. Thank you all for watching. Subscribe to our Patreon. Thank you all. Bye.
Bye.